Hello and welcome to episode 114, where Amy Wheeler and I discuss setting intentions. And we in particular discuss Sankalpa, which is a Sanskrit word which means setting an intention that's in connection with your highest truth. Amy and I also share our intentions for 2020, so please stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Elements of Ayurveda, Empowering Wisdom of Life. I'm your host, Colette, and in this podcast, I hope to empower you to take charge of your own health by sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition from India. We will also discuss topics like health and wellness, nutrition, yoga, fitness, meditation, breath work, and much more, as well as interviewing lots of inspiring people along the way. My humble wish is to help you to connect to your true nature, to Mother Nature, and to each other. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe to the show, and the new episodes will automatically download for you to enjoy. If you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend you listen to the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. I've also set up a Facebook group for us to connect and to support each other, and I'd love for you to join me over at Elements of Ayurveda podcast group. And now here's the show. Hello and welcome to Elements of Ayurveda and the first episode this year with Miss Amy. Hello, Amy.
Good morning and Happy New Year. I'm so excited to be in the new decade.
Yes, it is very exciting, isn't it? It brings a whole new level to it all. It's not just a new year, but a new decade as well. And so how were your holidays?
So relaxing, so nature-filled, quiet.
Nice.
Just being at home with my animals. I do this every year. I travel to see family in early December before everything gets crazy.
Yeah.
And then I'm always home for Christmas and New Year's. I just feel I need that. The last 2 weeks of December, I need to be quiet and be with my family here in California. And that's the way I like it. It sounds a little strange, but that's what I prefer.
No, I hear you. And then you have to think of the new school's term starting too. So that's, requires a lot of energy. And you had snow, right? You had a lot of snow.
So much snow.
I saw lots of snow photos on your
How about you?
social media.
How was yours?
It was great. I went to Ireland and just hung out with family. It was fantastic. And I have 11 nieces and nephews ranging in age from 20 to like 6 weeks. Little Hazel was just born in October.
Oh.
So yeah, I know, just lots of time with little Hazel, hugging on her. And I have lots of little ones. So I went home early because I wanted to be there for all the build up and their excitement. And I was just magical. Yeah, it was really great. But now
Can I
glad
just say
to be
one
back.
thing?
Mm-hmm.
When you are holding a brand new little Purusha who's just gotten their earth suit, it's almost like they've brought a piece of heaven down with them, and you can just, it's yummy.
That and that new baby smell. Oh my God. Yeah. We were all just sniffing our head like that. It is. They could bottle that new baby smell. Oh my goodness. It's just divine. So yeah, it was really sweet, and just hanging around the kids. It was really, really lovely. So yeah, but glad to be back to the sunshine now here in the south of France. So all is well. And today, our New Year topic, we're going to talk about resolutions and intentions. And I started, Amy, looking at, what is the difference between a resolution and intention? So I looked to the dictionary to get the absolute definition. So resolution comes up as a firm decision to do or not to do something, the quality of being determined or resolute. And then intention came up as a thing intended, an aim, a plan, a goal, or purpose. And I like the sound of intention because it's more in flow, I think, with yoga and Ayurveda, and particularly the word purpose. And this then caused me to think about Sankalpa, which is a Sanskrit word, and San means a connection with the highest truth, and Kalpa means vow. So it's really like a vow to your true nature. It's a heartfelt desire, a really solemn vow, and I think that just flows beautifully with our world of yoga and Ayurveda. What's your thoughts on that?
I love it because it's helping people to come back to their true self, their true nature, not the part of themselves that is deranged and overworked and overstressed and overstimulated. It's like saying, no, you're going to commune with your higher self. And that's what this Sankalpa is about. Yeah.
And I think resolution, it sounds a little harsh, but it's also more of a personal goal, where I think as Sankalpa is more of it's an inward reflection, like you said, to connect more with your heart's highest intentions, your true self. But it's more of a tuning in so that you can bring intentions into your world that for the betterment of not only yourself, but of the world. That you can tune into that true nature and bring whatever that purpose or passion is out into the world. That's the way I see it.
I love that. And that's what happens when we deeply connect inside of ourselves. We start to find more meaning and purpose and dharma and really start to understand how we can be of service with the gifts that we've been blessed with.
Yeah, and that's it. I do think that Sankalpa is more connecting with a true nature to carry out your dharma. You just mentioned the word dharma there, and dharma being your purpose in this life. And I do think that, resolutions can be come from a place of ego sometimes, whereas I like with Sankalpa, it's more of an intention to, like I said, for the betterment of not only yourself, but that you can carry it, connect into that true nature and bring that true nature into the world so that this is your dharma, this is your purpose, with the intent to raise consciousness and to do your work in this world, to be part of the greater good and that raising the vibration.
I love that. And, in our yoga therapy training, when we get to teaching therapeutic meditation, which is quite different than, Vipassana meditation or Zen meditation, they all have their strengths, but basically there's 10 steps in this, therapeutic meditation teaching. And the first 2 steps you can just do, but the third one is the Sankalpa. And at that moment, you have to decide, are you in or are you out? Because if you're not in completely for the rest of the 10 steps, you need to eject. Oh. And if you are in, then you're staying in it. You're not going to check your text. You're not going to answer the phone. So I like that because it says, okay, the first 2 steps, this is your warm up. And then you have to decide if you're in or not. And to me, that's what a Sankalpa should be is, are you really here? Are you going to do it? Are you ready? Are you committed? And if not, then don't kid yourself. Let's just move back out. We did the first 2 steps of the meditation practice and we weren't going to do it today. It's okay. We all have those days. But if you're in, you're in.
Oh, interesting. So you're really committing to it. And I think that is the difference with Sankalpa, with setting an intention, is that, and particularly with Sankalpa, it's something that you can repeat every morning to yourself, like maybe a mantra or a saying that you have, that you make up, that's in relation to your intention, and that you repeat every morning, so that if, for example, you messed up yesterday, you're starting every day fresh with the intention to go forward for your higher good. And then talking about it in relation to resolutions generally is, like I said, more egocentric, that it's more, I want to lose weight, I want to, travel, or whatever the resolution is. Whereas with Sankalpa, it's more of a statement that's suggested, that's recommended, that you make a statement, that's present moment statements. Maybe you want to be kinder. And that, your present moment statement every morning could be, kindness is my true nature. So it's already there, because resolutions sometimes make a belief system that I'm missing something. I will be happier if I lose these 10 pounds. So whereas with Sankalpa, it's like, oh, it's already in me. I just have to uncover it.
Right. And interestingly, is there a way, is something stopping you from your dharma? Is there a way to work on that goal with this kind of bhavana or this attitude about it's already there and I don't have to, I'm not a bad person and I'm not, but rather there's a positive feeling. So, I mean, I think it's even possible, say that you had put on 40 pounds of weight and your knees were hurting and you couldn't teach asana anymore. Is there a way to encompass the fact that you want your body to be healthy and happy and able to move and comfortable and pain-free, knowing that that's going to help you perform your dharma in this life?
Yes. And I think that looking at those emotions, or like you said, looking at those things that are stopping you from doing this, is peeling back the layers to your true nature. So it's just all part of the journey.
Yeah, and doing it with this attitude of kindness and sweetness and loving yourself.
Right.
So one of the things that I work with my Cal State students on in our sports psychology class is a very kind of mini CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy, because we do goal setting in that class.
Oh, great.
And, basically I take them through these 5 steps on how to change their attitudes, change their belief structures, find more acceptance with themselves, and basically find a way to make their goal feel positive and happy instead of punishing and,
Oh, I love
creating
that.
shame.
Yeah, because I do feel the whole resolution setup is a lot of shame. It's a lot, like I said, ego focused, and it's a lot of negativity. Like, I am missing something. I am not whole.
Right.
So could you take us through a sample of this?
Sure.
Fantastic.
So I don't know if you want the short version or the long version. So I'll start with short, and then if you decide you want to go long, we can.
I think we'll want to go long, but.
Okay. So a really simple example is I had a gentleman in my class, and he always found himself buying really cute clothes and then not having enough money for his cell phone bills and his other bills. And he really wanted to set goals that he would save more money and be, financially flush.
Right.
So his goal was, don't buy any more shirts. And I said, no, that's punishing. That's not, that's not kind. That's like, you're a bad person because you keep buying these clothes for yourself and wasting your money, you jerk, you idiot. It has that kind of punishing feel to it. I said, what if we changed your attitude, changed your belief structures, and basically changed the way you talk to yourself, your self-talk, and said, I'm the type of person who likes to have my finances in order and likes to have the safety and security of knowing that my bills will be paid.
Oh, I
and
love that.
That's what we say to ourselves. And so when we're standing in front of the shirt, instead of saying, don't buy this, you're terrible with your finances, you're going to start talking to yourself and having this new image of yourself that you are somebody that knows how to take care of finances, and you're someone that really enjoys paying your bills on time, and you're basically taking the carrot instead of the stick.
Right.
You walk away from the clothing that you're about to buy because you want to be something more than you've been, and you're excited about getting to this new way of being, and it's wonderful.
It's so great, because the other way that he was experiencing before was so negative on his body, and it's saying, I don't trust you, you're not a good person, you're not reliable. There's so many negative connotations to that self-talk that he was having originally, that it's fantastic. So what was his reaction?
Oh, he loved it. I mean, we have 35 people in the class, and they all had to stand up and say what they originally were saying to themselves, and then say what their new message was going to be. And they were just beaming. Oh my gosh, it was so heart-opening to see all these people who want to eat breakfast, who want to go to the gym, who want to fit better into their clothing and not have chronic pain, and seeing them each find new messages and beliefs and attitudes about how they can move forward without shaming themselves.
Oh, that's so lovely. That's great. Absolutely fantastic. And it is really important how we talk to ourselves and checking in with what we are saying to ourselves, that self-talk each day, because it does affect our body. Our body is energy. And if we're bringing those self-negative thoughts in, that it really does affect everything, not only our digestion, but everything in our body.
You know, I tell my kids and my yoga therapy clients, no one ever in the history of the world made a sustaining change, health behavior change, by shaming themselves and punishing themselves and beating themselves up. You can do it for a few weeks or maybe a few months, but it's not going to last. It's not sustainable.
Absolutely.
So without those new attitudes and beliefs and positive visualizations and positive ways of speaking to ourselves internally, that's how we create a sustained change over a lifetime.
Yeah, so true. And that's it. It has to be sustainable. It has to be something that's going to change those belief systems or those patterns of talking, which it will take discipline to change that. But eventually it will become autopilot. It will become second nature, that's the way you talk to yourself. So, Amy, I know I'd love to hear the longer version. That was very interesting. Okay. So can you share the longer version with us?
Yes. All right. So I don't know. We could actually put a little worksheet up on the notes with all these questions.
Oh, fab. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Okay. So step 1, the person writes out, and I do this with my yoga therapy clients all the time too. We can spend a whole hour on this, but they write out the circumstance I found myself in, which could be buying the clothes, not fitting in your jeans, you know, whatever your thing is. The circumstance I found myself in, and then the negative feelings that came up for me during or after. So for this gentleman, he didn't have negative feelings at the moment of buying, but he'd go home and be like, oh, I have this new shirt and now I can't pay my cell phone bill, right? So he, you know, just kind of admitting like, yeah, these are the negative feelings that come up. And a lot of times it is disappointment, confusion, loss of confidence, shame, self-doubt, you know. So that's number 2. Number 3 is the negative thoughts I had in this circumstance. So first we looked at the feelings, then we looked at the negative thoughts, you know, I can't manage money, you know, whatever your thoughts are. And then based on those negative thoughts, what does your action often end up being in the future? And it's really, really weird. Even though you have negative thoughts and emotions, because you feel ashamed, you end up doing it again. So oftentimes he would find himself buying another shirt 3 weeks later and another shirt 3 weeks later. Even though he felt bad, you'd think because you're all ashamed and thinking you're a terrible person, you wouldn't do it again, but it's actually the exact opposite. Somehow that shame throws you back into the cycle. And then, you know, the 5th step is, all right, the unfortunate result of my actions is that I keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. All right, so that's all what I call the 5 parts of step 1. And that's just getting in touch with, okay, what cycle has been happening for me? Now we go to step 2, and this is where we're creating the sankalpa, the positive feelings, the, you know, I have hope for the future kind of thing. And so step 2 is the circumstances I found myself in, which are the exact same as the ones above, right? You're standing in front of the shirt and you bought the shirt. But the second question in step 2 is the new conscious thought I could have in this situation, which is you're standing in front of the shirt and you decide, wow, it would feel so amazing to be a man who takes care of finances and has his finances in order. And that I long for that. I'm excited. I'm happy about being that man and creating this new pattern, right? So that's his new thought pattern, which is going to correspond to a positive feeling like, woof, I put down the shirt because I'm paying my phone bill and I have got this covered, right? And then from that excited, happy place that you've actually made a good choice, the new positive action actually strangely ends up being that you start doing the new thing again and again and again. And when we look at the new and improved result of the actions, the long-term trajectory, that becomes your new habitual pattern. And it all stems on this new conscious thought. That's the cognitive behavioral change, right? That I want to be a man who takes care of his finances. And I am excited moving in that direction, as opposed to I'm the dude who can't stop myself from buying $65 shirts. What's wrong with me?
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. What a great exercise.
They love it. And my clients love it too. And it takes a full hour because we're so stuck. Like whatever it is, weight loss or whatever, you've been doing the same thing and you can't get out of your stuckness. But when you do these exercises on a regular basis, and I ask them to continue to do it, not just once with me, but I send them home with a packet to continue doing this and really get to the heart of the issue so that they can make sustainable change long term.
Yeah, and I think that's the good thing, is really looking at what's the emotion that I'm feeding when I buy this shirt or whatever it is. But what's the emotions that come up, and being curious about that. And I think that adds an extra level to it as well, is like, well, why do I do this action? And then making the steps into the Sankalpa, like how can I turn this to be something more positive, and that I'm going in the direction of my true nature. I'm going in the direction of consciousness rather than going against it.
100%. And you're able to have choice and freedom and independence because you're connecting deeply with your true nature. Right. I mean, think of all the possibilities that open up for this young man over a lifetime because he's financially responsible.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's freedom.
Absolutely. And it's not just in this situation that he's going to bring in this exercise. Well, it's going to be in every situation in life. Just how we learn in yoga to breathe deeply when we're in stress, that becomes automatic when we're in stressful situations. Now this man is going to be bringing this exercise in when he sees that he's doing something that's not in alignment with where he wants to be.
That's right. He's going to bring it to why does he eat sugar every afternoon? He's going to bring it to why does he keep getting in a fight with his girlfriend over stupid stuff? Right. He's going to bring it to why does he have any repetitive behavior that isn't serving him? Right,
exactly. I think for all of us, this is the journey we're on. This is the journey of life, is discovering and understanding our true nature and our dharma, which is what the journey we're all on, and being curious about it and looking at those things in our life, those habits or those repeated patterns we have that constantly show up that we know are taking us away from where we want to go. We know that they're not leading us towards consciousness. And so what intentions can we bring in that will lead us towards that path that we're all on, that path towards consciousness, that path towards a greater awareness? And I think that's a nicer way to bring intentions in rather than those harsh resolutions.
I agree. And the whole key to success is this positive, exciting feeling that you're moving closer to your true nature. Right. And it's actually fun. It's fun to put the donut down because you know what? When I get, come off the sugar high, I'm not connected to myself anymore. So I look forward to putting that donut down.
Right, exactly. It's so true. When you remind yourself every day of the journey you're on and where you want to continue going, that every day, if you remind yourself of that Sankalpa every morning, that little mantra you have for yourself, that can help you make those better decisions each day. But we all know it has to be a daily reminder for us because it's so easy to go off track. And it's so easy to go to that level of, sugar, I'm just going to have sugar or whatever, that we really need that daily practices that we talk about, those daily dinacharya. We need that every day to keep us on track. And I'd love to talk now, Amy, a little bit about setting those intentions. And I think for some people it'd be like, I'm not sure of what intentions to set. And, for me, I'd say my advice would be, that's when you need time, quiet time in meditation or time in nature, or to do something like Amy's exercise, which would be amazing. And we'll link to in the show notes. Thank you, Amy, for that. Take time to be curious again and look at those patterns that keep coming up and to reflect. What are your thoughts on that, Amy?
Yeah, I think that's where people like you and I are actually very helpful, because I know from my personal experience that when I'm stuck in an area and I've tried and tried and tried to figure it out, I can't. It's like that part of my mind is broken, and that broken mind isn't usually going to be able to figure a way out of that situation. So that's when I reach out for help from a mentor, from my Sangha, from my girlfriends, my husband, and I look for new ideas and new ways of thinking and new ways of strategizing, because I couldn't think of anymore. I couldn't help myself, you know? So relationships are so important. And when you give someone an Ayurvedic consultation, or I give them a yoga therapy session, this is the work we're doing, is helping them climb out of their own mud puddle.
Yeah, I think that's very true. And especially for those of you out there who are just starting on this journey, it's really exciting, but it can be very overwhelming as well. I completely understand that and empathize with that. But this is where it's really good to invest in some professional guidance, because when you're just starting out in this journey and maybe your diet and your lifestyle isn't where it was, you want it to be, it's even hard to have the clarity about where you need to start changing things. And you oftentimes need support and a step-by-step system, so that you're not, grasping at straws and trying to change everything all at once, because again, it won't be sustainable. So I agree, Amy. I think it's really worth investing at the start of your journey, and any time throughout your journey, particularly the start when it's really overwhelming, just to get clarity around where to start, where you are in relation to imbalances or aggravations in your body, and what's the best for you on your individual journey.
And it's humbling.
Yeah.
I can tell you, it's humbling for me. It's humbling for my yoga therapy trainees. They took a year with us on Wednesday nights. We do a Wednesday night class, and it's online. But almost every single one of them said, "Oh my God, I learned this year how out of balance I personally am, and how, it was so humbling to everyone." Right. Here they want to be a yoga therapist, but they're realizing, whoa, I have a lot of work to do on myself before I can be a coach or a leader for someone else,
Oh, absolutely. That reminds me of when I went to see Dr. Sujata in Bali for the first time, and I had been years in the health and fitness industry and doing all this athletic events and competition and so on, and personal trainer and yoga teacher, and I learned that I was doing everything wrong for my constitution. My goodness, did that bring me down off my pedestal, and I had to learn from the ground up again. But yeah, it is humbling, but it also is so satisfying, because you feel with yoga and Ayurveda for the first time, you're learning something that's tailored to you, that really resonates. Everyone is like, oh my goodness, this makes so much sense. It's logical, but it's also in tune with nature. It just flows so well and feels so right, and especially when it's tailored to you, which is what you get when you do a personal consultation. You get that tailored advice, and that's key. Because how many times, Amy, do you meet somebody and they're like, "Oh, I thought I was doing everything correctly, but I realized that it wasn't tailored to me," and so it drove them into a further aggravation.
Exactly, and as we know from Ayurveda school, you're often drawn to the things that keep you out of balance instead of the things that would mitigate or pacify,
Yeah, absolutely. And so now I think it would be good to give some advice, Amy, for each dosha type and the recommendations that we would give for setting intentions for each dosha type, because like we just said, it's very different for everyone. Would you like to start off there?
Sure. So I'm going to start with kapha imbalance. When I talk about doshas, I'm not talking about birth constitutions. I'm actually talking about lifestyle imbalances, because that's what I mainly deal with as a yoga therapist.
Right.
So with the kapha imbalances in the body and mind, I have just found that it's very hard to get them to get out of negativity and even see the light. And, you say, how do we want to, work forward? And they have a really hard time. They just want to tell you about the past and why it's not going to work and why it's never worked and all the reasons they can't. And, so for me, the Kapha lifestyle imbalance is the hardest one because I have to do a whole lot of support and coaching and helping them see that, this could work, and then setting them up for success with community because they're not going to go out and exercise on their own. They need a class
Exactly.
with a walking buddy, with a check-in person that they can text every day to say they did it, like setting up a structure or a community that helps them stay on track because left to their own devices, they're probably not going to do it for more than a day if they can even do it for a day.
Right. No, absolutely. I agree with that. And yeah, it's like when there is a kapha aggravation, it's like that fire is gone. So any motivation or any incentive, the spark is just not there. So they really do need, group classes, to be in community, like you said, to be accountable, to make dates with friends, to meet up, whatever the intentions are, but you needed to do it in a group activity.
Well, and the really good news is they are oftentimes, if they're not too depressed, they are pretty community oriented.
Yeah.
That's their natural state. But once they get going, if we can get them doing it for 30 to 40 days, they will do it for a lifetime. They are consistent. They sustain. This will be a total trajectory shift for the long haul, So that's the pro of it is that, hey, they're going to sustain this if we can just get them on the right track.
Right. And I think with kapha, sometimes the initial step, if there is a lot of withdrawal, if there is a lot of heaviness and sluggishness and even inertia, that there needs to be a reset at the start of that journey. That there needs to be, for me, I often recommend like a cleanse or some fasting or something, that there needs to be something that's going to really wake them up and pull them out of that heaviness, because that heaviness is like, quicksand. It's very, very heavy. There's a lot of inertia. There's a lot of feeling down and withdrawal, not wanting to even be social. But like you said, their true nature is social and people love them. Because they're great support, they're great friends, they're just that loving, caring nature. But when it's very heavy and dark and there's a lot of tamas, that this is where they need that spark of fire. So really working on the digestive system is really important. Maybe doing some cleansing or fasting to just lift that energy, to lift that out of that heaviness. I think that could be a great starting point for kapha.
Yes. And, one of the things that I've designed in my business is we do 9-day modules where we're eating khichdi and Ayurvedic foods and chai with a bunch of spices. We're getting good sleep. We're being nourished by spiritual teachings. So many times people come in on the first day of the 9 days completely withdrawn, depressed, isolated. And by the end of the 9 days, they're hugging, they're smiling, they're light, they're happy. And so sometimes, I guess what I'm trying to say is you might need to go to a happy camp.
Right.
Ayurvedic
honestly,
camp.
Yeah. Like a supportive community or getting support somewhere, that I think for kapha, because especially if it's that very dark, heavy place, that there can seem to be no hope sometimes and no way out, and very hard to see a way out, that I do think you need support, definitely.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the best way, because of course, if you have a kapha aggravation, you know what you should be doing, you know where you want to be, but literally you're in that quicksand. And my heart goes out to people who are in that situation because it's really hard, but it's just that the body and the mind are in the state of inertia, are just like no motivation, no spark. So this is where you really need support. So if you are in that situation, please reach out and get the support. And then before you know it, you'll have that energy, you'll have that spark, and you'll be feeling good again. If you're interested in getting some help in doing a reset, if you're feeling that sluggishness, not only a cough aggravation, but maybe it's coming from toxins and ama in the body, then I want you to let you know about some programs I have coming up. I have a group Digestive Reset Cleanse, a discounted group cleanse starting January 24th, 2020. And I actually have a competition for a free entry into that. So you can find that in the show notes, all the details on that competition to enter for that free entry into the Digestive Reset Cleanse starting the 24th. I also have my longer program, my Reset, Restore, Renew program, which includes the cleanse and also my daily habits course. And that is also starting January 24th. So please check those out. The link is in the show notes, or go to my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, and check under the events tab. If you're listening to this after January 2020, I provide those programs all year long privately. So please just check out the services tab on my website. Okay, let's get back to the show.
And I'll just say one last thing that, I often ask my cough aggravated clients to get up and exercise first thing in the morning, which of course they hate. And it's very, very difficult. But they feel so good the rest of the day once they do it. It's like their whole day shifts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My brother is a prime example of this. We were talking about it when I'm home, and he's a tendency to gain weight, and he's the one that just had the second baby. So now it's really like, okay, having a second baby, there's less time, but he's committed now to every morning getting up and going out into the countryside and doing some exercise. And he's like, and Colette, I'm just buzzing. I'm buzzing after it, but it's exactly that feeling, like he feels so good. He's like, I go to work and I feel so energized, because he has a tendency towards that lethargy. Yeah, so it's so great to hear that he's committed to that. And of course, we're talking about what a great example now he's setting for his two girls, who are seeing that, oh yeah, daddy's going to the gym, he's going to work out, So it's
But that goes back to the Sankalpa, right? That he's got this positive feeling about being the best dad he can be, and being energized, and being a good role model, and feeling awesome in his body and mind. And that's such a better place to come from than, dude, you got to get your fat butt off the couch and get some exercise tomorrow morning.
Right. Exactly.
That's just not going to be sustainable.
Exactly. And we've talked, he's done an Ayurveda consult with me, and he's really interested in Ayurveda. And we've talked about how, he needs a support system. So he has somebody, a trainer that he goes to, and he, asks me for advice as well. So he has all those things in place, that support system, because he realizes as a kapha person, he can get into that hole, and he's been there. So he has supports in place and accountability coaches and so on. Just to keep him in check.
Right. And then once he gets the habit, he'll do it forever.
Right, exactly, which is great. Great. So moving on then, who would you like to cover next?
Let's do Vata next.
Great.
So my thought about Vata is, we hit the new year and they list somewhere between 5 and 15 New Year's resolutions. And there's just no focus sometimes. It's like they have so many balls in the air. And instead of doing one or maybe two things really well and drilling down and having that, kind of one-pointed focus attitude that this is what I care about, this has meaning to me, this is really going to shift me in a positive direction. And instead, they're telling you all these goals in every area of their life. And so when I work with clients that come to me and I say, what are your goals? And, if 10 minutes later they're still listing goals, I know we have a Vata imbalance.
Right. Yeah.
And I just have to then help them prioritize which ones that actually have real meaning. Where are you going to get the most bang for your buck with your health and mentally and physically? And remembering that each one of these goals that we set is going to require time and energy and, space and support to really make it happen. It's not just words on a paper. You're going to set up an entire strategic plan around it.
Exactly.
You're going to set up relationships around it. You're going to finance for it. You're going to cut time out of each and every day on your calendar for it. I mean, it's a big deal to set a goal. and really systematize your life so that you can reach that goal. And so that's, for me, what I have to help the Vatas with, is giving them a little bit of one-pointed focus and basically giving them some more pitta and making them have systems in place, calendars in place, check systems in place, support structures in place,
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think the biggest thing is for Vatas always is organization and routine, so that, okay, I pick my top 3 of those intentions. How do I set up my day so that I can make sure I can succeed at them? So if it's healthy eating, how do I prep my dishes the night before? Or if it's going to the gym, how do I prepare my clothes, or whatever it is, making sure that it's really organized.
Absolutely. And then the mental, emotional, spiritual support to keep going. I mean, they're going to want to do it for a day or 2 or 3, and then they're going to go to the next healthcare provider and say, "Oh, but I want to try this now."
Right.
And just, helping them commit to themselves. It's not committing to us. It's committing to themselves that they're going to give this a fair chance. And with a Vata, I tell them 90 days.
Yeah.
I want to see the calendar mapped out for 90 days. I want to see the check marks. I want to see your strategic plan. And you're going to give it 90 days. Don't come back to me in 7 days and tell me it didn't work and I got something else I want to do now.
Right,
no.
Right.
You told me this had meaning. You told me this had purpose.
Yes.
This is what you want. Now let's stick with this. And here's one other thing. Many times they have 6 or 7 or 8 different healthcare providers that they're listening to, many of which conflict. And that's really tough too. And so if I see that, sometimes I say, it sounds like your acupuncturist is really helping you. And maybe you should just really dig deep into that. And maybe yoga therapy isn't for you at this time, or whatever,
Yeah, well, that's very good, because obviously you're sending away business, but at the same time, you're looking out for them and knowing that whatever information you're going to give them may send them into a mind spin again, because like you said, they're going to an acupuncturist, which we'll be talking more about Chinese medicine. It's the elements, but there's very different approaches.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Very good.
But let's talk a little bit about the Vata positive. We said the kapha is going to sustain for a lifetime. What is the positive side for a very Vata person in terms of sankalpa and resolution? Do you have any thoughts about that?
Their creativity, to me, is always such a positive, and the excitement that they bring to this new creative ideas. So, for them to befriend, to have their kapha friend and be like, okay, let's do this. They're so excited. They have so much energy around it that they could help their kapha friend out. And that excitement, we just need to sustain it. Not to a point where it wears them out, right? That drains their energy, but keep that motivation going. So a Vata Kapha combo would be perfect, because we know Kapha has amazing endurance. Like you said, they're committed. That change will last a lifetime. They're not going anywhere. So if Vata could bring in that energy and excitement and all those great ideas, and their Kapha friend were like, right, I'm going to, take this the long haul, and you're going to join me, and then we get a pitta person in the middle and have the pitta person do out all the organization.
Right, we'll get to that in a minute.
Great mix. Yeah.
One of the really wonderful things I think about Vatas when I work with them is that they come in with such receptivity and openness, and anything is possible. Like, you ask them what their dreams are, and they'll just shoot for the moon and truly believe, yeah, I can do that. And so in that way, it's very different than working with a kapha, who you kind of have to drag along and help them understand there is possibilities. Sometimes with the Vata, it's like, whoa, they're going big. Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. But I like that. I like that they're so open and receptive to allowing the universe to support them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're very exciting, very creative. Yeah, they have that spark. They have lots of spark and glitter and all that good stuff.
Gold.
Yes. Wonderful. And so now moving on to pitta.
Well, I just have to tell you, as a strong pitta myself, or maybe pitta imbalance, you might say, it is very easy for me to work with other pitta people, because we together put systems in place. We make spreadsheets, we do checklists, we set timelines, we set dates. We really get down to business with structure and how are we going to fit this into your life? And they're up for it. They like that. So I think the key is, once you get a pitta on task, it flows. They do it. You just have to make sure they're not harming themselves and punishing themselves and shaming themselves on the days they don't get it all done.
Right.
And we have to make sure they don't go too crazy that they don't stop and smell the roses of life, because they're so busy with their checklist.
Absolutely. I think Pitta needs to schedule downtime, needs to look at their schedule, which they love to do, and fill in with stuff. But then they need to have, okay, I need to shut down at this time. I need to have time to do nothing, go in nature, read a book. Like, that's nothing that's goal oriented. Sometimes just some quiet time, family time, whatever it is, but something that it's not always focused on the goal.
So you'll be very proud of me.
Okay.
I made my calendar for 2020.
Uh-huh.
And every Sunday that I'm not, traveling somewhere, which, I'm not traveling much this year.
Yes.
I have blocked off as family time, downtime, creativity time, sit and rest time. So every Sunday in my calendar. And then I also put in time, like after 5 p.m. is family time for me.
Oh, I love it.
I do not work.
Yeah.
Before 8 a.m., I do not work. And I get up around 4 a.m. So that's a nice block there. So it's for self-care. It's for working out. It's for walking the dog. It's for sitting and watching a movie with my husband. And for someone as busy as me, I actually think that's a lot of unstructured time that I have set aside for myself.
Yeah, but it's so good. It's like, I correlate it to when we're working out, that muscle needs time. We create little tears in the muscle, and then that muscle needs time to rest and recover so that it can go stronger. And I think that's the same with us when we're working. We need that time off. Mine are kind of similar, actually. Unplugging every day. I want to go earlier to put my feet in the water at sunset, so I make sure that I'm, as much as I can, catch the sunset and put my feet in the water to ground myself after a day on the computer, and then no work after that. More reading in the evening, no technology. I want to unplug from all technology, and to increase my meditation. So I'm trying to, after lunch, to take, because, I work from home, so it's easy for me to eat lunch, which I do away from my computer, but then I'm straight back at it. So I usually take, 5-10 minutes, but now I'm going to try and increase that to like meditating for 20 minutes after lunch. So that I am taking a little bit more of a chunk of time. And definitely want to read more, and definitely off Sunday. Sunday is chill day. No work Sundays. And I should try to take one day during the week, but I'm really bad at doing that.
Yeah, aren't we?
Yes.
I have a built-in system that forces me to stop, and his name is Bodhi. Around 4:30, he just starts looking at me and crying, and Mommy, take me for a walk. So it's actually pretty easy for me, and I, especially in the winter, I get to hit the sunset right around that time. So and that's amazing.
That's an important part of the day, if you can. I know it relies, not everyone can, but if you can, taking some time at the end of the day, and just, if you can catch sunset, amazing. Or if you're, with the kids, taking them out to the park or just outside in the garden. I think it's important, just that little connection, especially if we've been indoors all day in winter time, it's nice to have that. Okay, so we've covered all the 3 doshas. Oh, did we talk about Pitta positivity?
Well, the positive.
Well, we think we're great.
Is how compliant they are and how willing they are to set up the structures and follow the plans and stay on track. That's huge. I would say one of the biggest challenges I have as a yoga therapist is getting people to comply. Right?
Yes.
So for me, it's a joy to work with them as long as I can soften them and help them learn self-love and self-compassion and all that, along with all that structure.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. Well, I'd like to close out here, Amy, we're talking a lot about Sankalpa, and there's a lovely Sankalpa mudra that I'd like to teach people. So we were talking about earlier in the podcast about saying that message to yourself, whatever your intention is, every morning so that you're starting your day with setting that intention, and therefore you're more likely to make decisions throughout the day that will be in line with that intention because you started your day with that intention. And there's a lovely mudra that connects the right and left sides of the brain so that the body, mind, and soul can really work holistically. And it's really simple. Basically, when you're sitting in meditation, that your left hand rests palm up on your right thigh, and then the right hand covers the left with palm facing down. And then you basically sit in that position with that mudra and you state your present tense intention. So again, I used the example earlier that, kindness is my true nature. Or if you're trying to lose weight, that health is my true nature. Or that you're trying to be more compassionate. Compassion is my true nature. Whatever it is that you stated in the present tense, and then you hold that mudra and repeat it a few times, and starting your day like that, adding that into your meditation or your intentions in the morning. I think that's a really nice thing to do. Did you have any tips there, Amy?
I love that Sankalpa mudra with the left hand up and the right hand down on the right thigh. I use that all the time.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's really simple.
Yeah. It's wonderful. And I love the idea of just having an affirmation or a mantra or even a prayer that you say each morning as a intention for what's gonna happen that day. One of my affirmations or mantras, if you want to call it that, is my heart to your heart to more hearts. Oh. And what that means is I'm going to try to live this day and connect with people at the heart. And then we're going to connect together, hopefully. And then they're going to share that sentiment with the people they connect with. So my heart to your heart to more hearts.
I love it. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Really, really nice. Well, thank you so much. I love that exercise, Amy, that you gave us, the cognitive behavior exercise. And I'll definitely get that worksheet from you and attach it here, because I think that's a really great place for people to start. And also just a reminder to all of you out there, because I have to remind myself all the time too, is to have self-compassion and to know that this is part of life. This is part of the journey. And there's going to be times when we mess up and times when we make unconscious choices. But each day you start fresh, you start new, you maybe doing your Sankalpa mudra, your affirmations, set your intentions and go out there each day with a fresh new approach and just do your best. And, less of the shaming, less of the guilt, less of the negative self-talk. We don't need any more of that in our lives. And just always remember, self-compassion is so important. So maybe at the end of the day, or in the start of the day, you're doing that Sankalpa mudra to set the intention. At the end of the day, to think about the positive things that happened in the day or the positive steps that you made, and allow that to be your final thought before you go to sleep. What intentions did you achieve in that day? I think that's a nice way to end the day on a positive note.
And to think of all the people that you came into contact with that hopefully you had a positive impact on.
Right. Exactly. And then the vibe vibrates out and we make this world a better place.
100%, because it's not just for us to serve us. It's for us to be in balance in order to serve the world.
Right, exactly. I think that's where we find our dharma for all of us. It's whatever our skill set is to be of service in the world, is use that skill set to be of service in the world. And that's when we really achieve satisfaction in our lives and contentment and feel like we're making a difference.
Well, I think that's a great note to end on for the beginning of 2020.
Leave it there, Amy. I look forward to lots more conversations in 2020, and I appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship and our conversations, and I look forward to many, many more.
Thank you, and I appreciate you and love you and look forward to a lasting friendship.
Great. Okay, lots of love, sister. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao. I hope you found that episode helpful. Always a great conversation with Amy Wheeler. And I am going to attach Amy's cognitive behavior worksheet that she shared in this episode in the show notes. So please check that out. I'm also going to attach the links to my upcoming group discounted Digestive Reset Cleanse and the Reset, Restore, Renew program, all starting January 24th, 2020. And of course, I'm going to add the link for that competition, where you could win a free entry into the Digestive Reset Cleanse. So please check out the links in the show notes, or just go to my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, and check out the events tab for the competition link and for all those group discounted programs starting January 24th. If you feel that this episode may be helpful to some family and friends, I would appreciate it if you would share it with them. And thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to connect with you soon. In the meantime, take good care of yourself, be well, and ciao for now.